be honest in this video. Before relocating, think about such issues. Think about how you're going to take care of your family. Think about the job you're coming to do. Is it a job even psychologically you're able to do, so that you can also be happy, so that you can also to be more productive, so that you do not come here, you go to work in a hospital, you are the one who is seen on television in your country, you are abusing residents, care homes, because you don't have the emotional drill of it. Okay, family, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us from. We are going to have another video today, and this video is part 2 of a previous video that I'm going to pin in the comment section for you to be able to follow together just in case you missed. And today we'll be looking at how about other things now. After we looked at all the other things that are good and happens, what is there to be looked at in this part 2? For example, the bills. This is what was on top of my mind. Yes, we heard about the good roads, the good housing, the education system, everything that we had. We also have a catch for that. The bills, I find them quite high in this country. You'll find, if you're not careful, you might pay for your house as much as 80% of your salary, because the houses are high. That is why you need to watch for which town you're going to live, because some cities and some towns are very expensive. So you need to be very careful when you're relocating the town you're going to be, how much you're going to be paying for bills, because we have like some bills that are actually a must do. To the landlord being a tenant, you must pay the bills for the house, yeah? You must pay for council, the borough council. In Kenya, we would say city council, where you live, the council that is going to be within your reach. You must pay for them. There's a fee that is paid outrightly, whether you like it or not. There will be a pay as you earn, that is deducted by the government right away. Hey, my Kenya people, KRA, Kenya Revenue Authority, here it's called HMRC. You'll also have that. So in other countries also, in Nigeria, they'll also have a taxman. Every country, we know that is how government raises its funds. So that is why we are saying, just like any other country, the taxman here, as is mostly used, is going also to come for your money. This is before even you touch the money, your salary. So there'll be a house that you're paying for. There'll be where the house is, the borough council for that area. There'll be now the taxman, that is the pay as you earn, the taxes for that country. You'll be paying here in the UK. You pay for the utilities, the electricity you've used, especially like winter, because it's cold, you heat the house, you boil water more and everything. The winter time, I know electricity is very high, or gas, depending on whether you're heating your water with gas or whatever. Cooking also, depending whether you're cooking with gas or electricity, that is also a utility bill. There will be water, which is a must. When in a house, you'll be paying for that. There are other bills that is a must. Now, some are usually depending on what you have paid for and the loans that you're having. You could be maybe having a loan for your car, having a loan for your phone, having a loan for your chair, for your television, because you're getting loans, as we had discussed in the first part of this video. We realize it's easy to access loans, but remember, it's also going to come from your salary so that you remain in good records. So imagine if you're earning 2,000, you might be having expenses of even 1,800. You only remain with 200. And some of us, we carry our mothers, our fathers, our children and such that we need to support. So please watch out for that. As we think of how to be rich, that does living abroad make you rich? Really, you need to consider some of these things. Otherwise, you might not have even enough for yourself. Another one we are going to look for, when you're abroad, one of the things that I realized someone misses is social life, for example. You miss your social life, you miss your going for weddings. Weddings are a big deal, I know, in most of the abroad countries like in Africa, whereby you have big communities to come for your wedding, to have an occasion, be it a child christening, to have an occasion, be it for maybe burial. Burials also are a big thing, whereby you'll be having people to support you and people to do things with you. it becomes a very big thing. You'll also find things like any social things that you want to do. The support might be minimal when you're living abroad. And even sometimes we do communal things that help people to be together. When you're here abroad, it becomes a challenge. Maybe the communities where you come from are very few, which makes it very hard for you to be assisted. That's another part of the social life that I'm talking about. It becomes very hard for you. So you miss home by being that. So in spite of you just thinking about riches, when you want to relocate, you need to think about some of those things because they're important in your life. How are you going to socialize? Which part of the country are you going to? Because some areas actually of certain foreign countries, maybe there are areas when you go, you'll meet more people who can be able to support you. And some areas you might not. Hey, even ladies, let me tell you, even just making your hair, that place, it was so far. And even when you go, you make appointments. Maybe the day you are given that appointment, you're working. And when you go, maybe the hair is not as good. We are so spoiled back in Africa, let me tell you. You can even go just downstairs and make your hair. Here, sometimes you have to travel, becomes a challenge. Hey, by the way, if you're planning to relocate, making hair is a life skill. Think about it. Think about, because you'll benefit. You'll even be making people hair and be able to just help each other in making hair. So yeah, so social life, how you like your life. Maybe parties become very few. You know, at home we have a lot of party. We party like for everything. Over the weekend, there's maybe just a get together. People are just, they just say, oh, where are we going out this time? You go to a park, maybe you go for horse racing, or you just go to the park to watch amusements or something, because also maybe the weather is good. This is what encourages it more when I look at it. So there are things that you might forget to think. It's not just about riches, it's about the holistic kind of a life. So you think about your social life, think about what you're doing and what you desire, because people are different. There are some people even abroad in those countries, they are indoors people. Maybe they are not fun making. They won't need to consider this social life part is too for those ones who like outdoors life. You know, you might not find it here, even as you think of trying to relocate abroad. So consider that as well as part of your social life. Another thing that you might want to consider is food. So food, for example, when you're a foreigner and you want your native food where you come from. Let me talk as an African. We have our African food, for example, yam, plantain, sweet potatoes, maybe kind of vegetables. You know those vegetables that the local vegetables, even sometimes you don't know what name to use in English because you use the local name at home. You find it's very hard for you to find it when you're living abroad. So you need to consider that. And when you find it, it will be very expensive because it has come maybe via sea or sometimes even using the aeroplane. So you'll have to pay for that. I was living in an area whereby I couldn't find my kind of food. You know that just maize flour to make my local food, which is called ugali. I had to go like more than 1 hour by bus. I start shopping, which is also very pricey. I shop for the products, then I go back home. Maybe I'm from work, I go back home another 1 hour. So it was becoming difficult. Honestly, food is one of the things that can challenge someone when they're abroad. I had to relocate, not basically because of that, but one of the reasons was even such things. So food becomes one of the things that becomes a disadvantage for you living abroad. All right. Another point that we can consider is weather, the 4 seasons of weather here. Sometimes where we come from, it's very tropical or very uniform kind of weather. It's rain, sun, maybe some little coldness where you're not even putting on a sweater or a jacket, or if you put, it's only half a day. Here, seasons are usually like even 3 months continuously. Winter, sometimes you feel like it's 4 or 5 because, hey, it's cold. So some of these things are also disadvantageous. For example, if you want to do anything outdoors, like a party, you can't. You have to do maybe indoors. You have to go and be indoors, and a lot of warming, heating, and this house warming also increases the bills. Like I remember I did my wedding on winter, and I'm going to pin our wedding video and you'll see. So you'll find you have to do it indoors because it's cold. We did it winter season, it's cold. And sometimes even when you plan for even a little bit less cold season, it rains. So what I mean is the seasons, the weather here might be a little bit to the negative. If you think of outdoors, if you think of the dressing and some of these things, the way at home, maybe you just maybe in a top and maybe feeling warm. So that is also something that we find. It's not just about riches. You need to consider everything holistic, including your clothing, what you'll be dressing, in those seasons. Another thing that I can say comes across as negatively, or not just about does it really mean you'll be rich when you're abroad? You need to consider also things like jobs, okay? Maybe I've seen some people who, when they relocated, they didn't consider very well the type of jobs they'll be coming to work here. For example, you're an accountant, you've been a banker, you've been running your businesses, maybe selling clothes, big saloonists and hairdressers. You know, I've met such people. When they came here, maybe the most equal jobs that they can and available jobs they can be able to do is like jobs in healthcare. In this country, in UK, they are very, very available. They are one of those jobs that have few people to work. And you find people don't remember to ask themselves, am I tailored for this? Not everybody is tailored to be a nurse or to be a doctor or to be in a setup of a hospital, seeing sick people, sometimes dead people. I've seen some people who relocate and because, oh, I just want to go and be rich in those countries. Some of them even getting really discouraged and regretting. They wish they remained back at home with the little they were earning. They were happier. They were still doing what they like. If it's a banker, imagine. I remember I met in my working scenarios. I am a nurse working in here in UK. I met a former regional manager of a bank from Nigeria who came and was feeling very discouraged and was getting into burnouts because the only job he could do was a healthcare assistant, and he couldn't know. He's never even been in a hospital. Just seeing someone vomiting, just seeing all the, you know, sick or someone dying or something, it was really discouraging, and he would always regret and start saying, oh, I wish I knew this. So some of these scenarios are the ones I'm saying, before you relocate and say, oh, I want to go abroad and be rich, consider these things. They are important. Sometimes people, when they're on the ground, they may never tell you. But I felt because of many people asking me, some via inbox, I thought, let this be a candid video, a real talk video, whereby you need to consider. For example, at home, abroad where you're living, you could be working and your wife is working, or both of you, husband and wife, are working. And you realize you are still making it somehow with all the other advantages, the food, the schools, the relatives, your mother is there, your father is there. And when you relocate, it's only one person who has gotten a job. So one of the spouses has to come as a dependent because the visas maybe have only been given to one person. And let me tell you, you know, working is socializing, and working helps you to feel holistic, healthy, you know. You'll find staying in the house, gosh, like me, I think I've worked throughout my whole life. I don't know how I can be unless I'm working and doing something in the house. Just staying in the house in the morning until evening, it might be hard. So when you find people come here, it causes a lot of stress, even to couples. Some of them, even their marriages, they were doing very well in Africa. Let me be candid with you. At karaoke moments, we discuss life conversations, and we are truthful and as real as it is. You'll find people back in Africa, for example, their marriages was intact. They didn't even realize the differences of money. A man would bring 20% or 70%, and the wife would be bringing less or more. They didn't realize they're growing up together. They relocate abroad. Here, the game is different. Things on the ground are different. As we say in Kenya, vitu kwa ground ni tofauti. Things on the ground are different. Meaning, when you come here, the bills, they choke you. The Nigerians say they choke you. There are so many bills, so many responsibilities at home. You can afford even a house girl, easily a house manager, someone to take care of your children and cook. Here, it is either the husband or the wife. You work opposite shifts, maybe so that you can take care of your children. One is working during the day, the other one during the night. You only meet maybe one day, Saturday per week, or 2 days per week if you're lucky, because it's chasing and chasing and chasing, trying to balance. I'm going to be honest in this video. Before relocating, think about such issues. Think about how you're going to take care of your family. Think about the job you're coming to do. Is it a job even psychologically you're able to do, so that you can also be happy, so that you can also to be more productive, so that you do not come here, you go to work in a hospital, you are the one who is seen on television in your country, you are abusing residents, you know, care homes, because you don't have the emotional drill of it, of how to take care. If you know you have anger, you can't be able to look after an old person. How will you come UK? What miracle will happen? You'll come here to start being shown on the television as an abuser. Consider all these things. By the way, they are important. Another thing that happens, homesick. My goodness. Personally, I've stayed here for a while now. I've never stopped being homesick, especially seasons of towards Christmas. You know, we have these seasons and Easter whereby families come together. You eat together. If you're a person who goes to church church, there'll be activities. There'll be so much that you are doing there. Maybe you have overnight prayers that you are supposed to go maybe from 9 p.m. up to 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. You go, you relocate maybe here. Most of the time, it's once in a while, and the overnight prayers are usually maybe from 8 p.m. to midnight or 1 a.m., including New Year crossover. You find the system is so different. That is one of the things you miss home. How about all the parties? Going for party every Saturday, it's like there's an occasion, or maybe the many ministries you're serving. There's so many things that make you miss home. How about all your friends? Unless you're born in this country, but many of us who grew abroad, that is where our social base is. Our families are there, our fathers, our fathers-in-law and mothers-in-law, our cousins, our children, maybe some of us, everything is abroad. We really miss home. It's one of those things. Please consider, think about it, consider. Missing home is one of the things, and it's realistic. Sometimes you go to a place, you're harshly treated, you just say, oh my God, I wish my country was running upright and I would get a job. I wish our politicians would make our country more conducive and help us to stay back at home than abroad. Home is the best. East or west, home is the best. That one I can never stop saying. It is always the best. Home is the best. So another thing that also happens when you're outside here is churches, as I said, and place of worship. You realize if you're used to a certain kind of a friendship, even if I've met a Muslim who was saying just missing to be in their own mosque at home. Churches also, you miss your church, your fellowships, you know, people that you go to do ministry together, evangelism, maybe just visiting the sick in the hospitals. There is a different way of doing churches. And some churches, actually my church, hey, hello Sitam Thika Road, hello Sitam. Some churches are very big, like my church. You have 2,000 congregants or 3,000 congregants. So the needs are many. The family is big of believers. You have many things to do. Here in UK, for you to have a church of 200 or so people, that's one of the major churches here. I'm telling you, we are still the minority because we know we've come here to work and we've relocated. That's what I mean. Just try to consider all those things. I've even seen some people just stopping, like pastors coming here to come and do healthcare jobs. Sometimes it's so difficult. They feel it's different. Test yourself before relocating. Another thing that I'm going to say with finality, and as one of our last points as we're coming to the end, also because you're a foreigner and you're in this country, you are different. You're a foreigner. You are seen as someone who is visiting. You don't belong. Sometimes, not everybody, sometimes the local people may not know how to live with someone from a different country and different color. You'll be meeting resistance, some treatments, some comments that are harsh to you that make you miss home. Some even may be due to the difference of the generation. Some generations did not have foreign people in their land. So they end up having the archaic and very old-fashioned ways of looking at foreigners, looking at black people as archaic, or people who are not good enough or have not gone to school. Sometimes you're facing some harassment and things like, so in your country, do you have houses? In your country, do you have roads? In your country, do you go to school? Or someone will even ask you, how come you're speaking good English? You know, and you believe it's because of where they are coming from. Sometimes they even ask you, so you mean you know what a gas cooker is? Because maybe they are thinking, because you're African, and sometimes journalism, negative journalism doesn't do us good. We always show Africa as places of hearts, as places of poverty and diseases. We are not showing the big roads, the universities, the graduation, the greater percentage. Hey, by the way, to any African who is a journalist or who is in the social media, let us be proud. Let us also show the good food, the good weather, good things about Africa. I believe we're also doing ourselves disservice, always talking about bad things and bad things. Every country has its challenges and has its goodness. So it depends with how people face it. If we can show Africa, like one of the things that I love Kenya, for example, I love Kenya for the wild animals and the many trips. Nigeria, for example, I love it for plenty of food. And these people, I find Nigeria is full of life. Everything is party. They like to dance. They like party. Let us also show the goodness of places. Yeah, we have good things. So you find maybe you're harassed at your workplace by the way people will be addressing you, or the way people will be looking at you. Racism will be there. You can tell this person is saying this because I'm a different color, the way they are treating me. But this also happened inversely When also maybe someone from, even like from here, UK, if they move to another different country, I want to believe they'll be the only color in that country, the only color in amongst the black. They might find the same resistance, the same kind of treatment. So what we are saying is, when you're relocating from one country to another, think about that. How the people treat foreigners, because some countries are foreign, treat well foreigners. And by the way, even in UK, some people are so good. Some people even they want to learn, and those are the companies that I enjoy. They'll even ask you what type of food. Oh, ugali, how do you make ugali? Fufu, jollof, everybody will be asking you. So this is what I'm saying. Let us have some positiveness even in our diversity. It is good to consider these things because it's not just about riches. It's about everything in totality. You need to think about all these things in totality so that you can be able to enjoy your staying abroad. Hey, karaoke moments are family. If you are here for the first time, I want to request you to hit subscribers button, subscribe and follow us so that you can be able to be receiving our videos. Please make a comment. Could you be living abroad? What negative things do you wish to talk about, or things that you could have known better, could have made you decide better whether to relocate or not? And are you rich, by the way? Tell us, are you rich when you're in this country? Let us know about it. When you tell people you don't have money, do they believe you? Let us have these conversations in the comment, and I'm going to put a few pin videos as we discuss for you to see some of the things that I was discussing about. We love you till we get to see you again. May God bless you. Bye.